Yo guys, what is going on? Blossom is back, and welcome back to another episode of Top Drives. Today, join me for a nice tips and tricks video, kinda, but also it's a hybrid with a garage tour, but I'm only showing you ultras. But why I'm putting two and two together, well, I'm gonna explain it right now. So, in the past, I've talked about specialization. If you've seen those videos, I'm happy. If you haven't, I really recommend you go check those out. I have a whole playlist dedicated to specialization and tips and tricks to how you can be a better and more efficient player in the game. I have a playlist for that. I'll put it in a link in the description below. I swear. I mean, I said that I was gonna do it the last time I mentioned it, and then I didn't. But then someone said you forgot to add it, and then then I added it. But this time I'm gonna make sure that when I publish the video, the link's gonna be in the description. Okay? But yeah, specialization is really important. It basically is something that you want to understand when you start playing the game, or you want to understand the specialization concept when you're a really early player, because what it will do is that it will help you progress through the game a lot more smoothly. It will give you a path to follow, and it'll keep your mind a lot more at peace when it comes to just playing the game. Like, especially if you're a free-to-play or a semi-pay-to-win, specialization, or even if you're a pay-to-win, specialization is a really good way to start. And because of that, you will see a lot of specialization in my Ultra collection, which is what I want to show to you today. So, let me click filter. I'm going to show you, I already have filtered it. It's Ultra, it's fully upgraded, and I have 213 maxed ultra rares. Let me know down in the comments below how many max ultra rares you have. I kind of want to know what the average is. Obviously, mine's on the pretty high side, 213, and it's gonna be 214 in about 3 hours because one of my Caterhams is on its final fuse, or dogger cheese. So yeah, it's gonna be 214 really soon. But right now, I'm gonna show you 213 max ultra rares. So why do I have so many maxed ultra rares? Now, one of the reasons, or well, actually all of the reasons why I love ultra rares so much is A, it is kind of, and I've said this many times, it's like the noodle of your diet. It's the carbohydrates of your diet. It's like the backbone, it's important. You need ultra rares because ultra rares are so versatile in a sense where in a low RQ event, they serve as the high RQ cars, and in a high RQ event, they serve as the low RQ cars, right? In the high RQ event, they serve as the RQ savers, and a high RQ, in a low RQ event, they are the heavy hitters. They're the ones that get you the points. But in a high RQ event, they're your RQ savers, right? And also in clubs, which I play a lot of, ultra rares are the most common rarity that you are going to be seeing, that you're going to be using, and this ties into the 10 million cash I have. A lot of people always ask, oh Blossom, how do you make so much money? How do you make it so quickly? I've made videos on those. That's like the most common question I always get. I don't know why people are still asking me, because I've made videos on those, and once again, those videos are also going to be in the playlist that I'm going to link in the description below when I publish the video, I swear. But yeah, ultras are so important because not only are they useful in multiplayer events, they're also really useful in championships. You need them in championships, you need them in the campaign, and you need them in clubs. They are so good, right? So that's the first thing. They are so versatile, right? They can be used in high RQ events, low RQ events, right? The second one is obviously it leads to me earning all my cash. It's so useful in clubs, and of course squad depth, right? Because in clubs, after you raise one car 10 times, it's tired, it wants to go to bed. And then obviously if you want to use that car again, you can either A, use gold and service the car for another 10 races, or B, have a second one, so when that one's tired, when my first 135 is tired, I can replace it with my second 135, and I can do 10 more races, and I can get a higher position, and I can get a higher participation badge, which leads to more money. And the last thing I love about ultra rares so much, now epics are my favorite rarity in the game, or the epic rarity is my favorite rarity in the game, but the ultra rares have to be the most useful, because besides the fact of maxing them out, you can also fuse them into epics, which I think are the most important rarity in the game. Obviously legendary is legendary, right? But they're also really rare, so they're hindered by the fact that they're so hard to achieve. Epics are hard as well, but just not as hard as legendaries, and I'm sure you guys can agree with me. I have double, almost triple the amount of epics I do legendaries, right? And also the last thing I love about ultra rares so much is that it's a form of self-expressionism. It's a form of self-expression. I know this video, I did not plan for it to get as deep as it's getting, but yes, Ultras is a great way to show off the characteristics of my tastes and the personality of my garage, because I get to max in large numbers cars from random countries and brands that I just love so much, and it's just a way for me to show off. And also, you know, not only that, the cars that I'm maxing are going to be useful because they're ultra rares, and ultra rares are seen almost everywhere in any event in the entire game. So this is why I love ultra rares. But yes, today I'm going to show you all 213. Obviously, if you follow my Instagram page, you will know, you know, all my new max outs, because I always post them there. But sometimes I'm not really that new. Sometimes those max outs are like a week old, because I have to wait till I get like 4 or 5, then I post them all together. So, you know, yeah, sometimes they're like a week. You know, if a week is still new and early for you, then yeah, my new max outs. But anyway, you're gonna see here a lot of duplicates, As you can see here, 2 Opel Adam R2s, and we're going to see that throughout the garage. Once again, 2 Neon SRT4s. This one is specifically upgraded for clubs. As you can see, it's 996, it's drag spec, and I literally use it just for drags in front-wheel drive events and clubs. Because the best front-wheel drive car for drags in clubs is usually the Auto Delta. Now I feel like the Auto Delta is dethroned by the new front-wheel drive epic Peugeots that were added in European Revolution, but those cars are really rare, and I haven't seen a lot of them max out yet, so the Auto Delta still reigns supreme. And the problem is, I don't have an Auto Delta. Italian Renaissance has been out for a year now, and I've never pulled an Auto Delta, so I have to rely on my drag spec Neon SRT4. It loses to the Auto Delta everywhere, but it only loses by 50, 4.20 to 60, and you know, it is strong. It beats other front-wheel drive cars, but as you can see here, I have a lot of cars in my Ultra collection that I upgraded, and I upgraded in duplicates literally just for clubs. And anything I do for clubs is because I want to get as much money as I can, so I can open as many packs as I can, so I can make as many videos as I can. You see what I mean? It's just the domino effect, one after the other, right? There are a lot of cars on my list that I want to get duplicates of, like a duplicate version of the Miura SV, a duplicate V8 Vantage, which I want to drag spec as well, 996. I have a second one, I just haven't gotten around to maxing it out. And then I also have some pretty interesting cars. Once again, this one I maxed out just for clubs, just in case there's a eco-friendly event one day, and there actually was last week, so that's literally it. It's just because it's the eco-friendly tag. A lot of my Ultras that you'll see in here are not actually key Ultras. My Ultra garage is actually very quirky. If the PHEV and the drag spec Neon wasn't enough to, I guess, tell you that my Ultra garage would be very quirky, we also have cars like the BMW M3 that I never use and that Leo hates. 202 races. Hey, actually, okay, that's actually pretty good, alright? 82% win ratio for over 200 races, that's actually pretty good. But yeah, that's another point why I wanted to make this video. I wanted to show you the more, I guess, low-key ultra rares. Everybody by now, and I've talked about this so many times, should know what the key ultra rares are, right? Like the Caterham 270. I'm having a second one maxed out right now, like I said, it's on its final fuse. This is a key ultra rare. I'm not going to talk too much about those because I feel like people already know that, and if you don't, then I also have videos that highlights that, so don't worry. But I want to talk about the low-key ultra rares, like this one, the Ford Sierra RS500. Why would anybody max this out? Why did I max it out? I like the car. Like I said, ultra rares kind of embodies my characteristics and my taste, and you know, the cars I like. I'm a personal fan of the Ford Sierra, and that's why I maxed it out. But also, it is somewhat useful. A lot of the cars that I max out, they're very niche. Like this one has decent MRA, it has you know, decent handling. Actually, it has a very good handling for an 80s car, and it's also medium, but it has a very low 0 to 60. I mean, very bad 0 to 60, not low. Low is a good thing. High 0 to 60. But yeah, some very interesting quirks and features. I love watching Doug DeMuro, honestly. But as you can see, here's another one that I never use: the Pontiac Trans Am 30th anniversary. 243 races, 75% win ratio. The only time I used it was for Pontiac events and clubs, but then This is a strategical standpoint that I'll talk about later. I eventually stopped using it for Dragon City because Dragon City in clubs is usually 2 city streets. What I did in the end was instead of using this and the Pontiac GTO, I just got a second GTO and now I have 2 max GTOs because the GTO beats the Trans Am 30th anniversary. So now the 30th anniversary is kind of useless. I'm only having it in here for the collection. I'll talk about that in a bit from a strategical standpoint. I'll mention it a little better. But some other weird cars that I feel like not a lot of people would max out would be the Jaguar F-Type Coupe. This thing has amazing MRA, but very, high 0 to 60, which is a bad thing, and the handling is not very good. Now, I know I said that the Sierra's handling was good, but that was 92, and that was medium. This is 90, and it's low. You see what I mean? But it does have very good MRA, and that's kind of why I have it. A lot of these Ultras are also 233. I feel like this is something that I've talked about so many times. Always 233, your performance tire, rear-wheel drive, Ultra Rares. But I feel like I've said this so many times, but I feel like a lot of people still don't know that because I've talked to a lot of people that still ask me, should I 323 or 223 it? Which, in actual sense now, if your car is low ground clearance, rear wheel drive, performance tires, 233 is the way to go. Even if it's an Aston Martin now, because the meta changed, which kind of sucks because I have a lot of Aston Martins in here which are 323, when they're now better 233. Here's another one, Exige S2 4898, good handling, but not good. Well, yeah, good handling and good MRA, but then good MRA needs to be backed up with good top speed, and this has a trash top speed. The 0 to 60 is trash as well. It's a car that I really never use. As you can see, 195 races, 76% win ratio. Now, some people might be thinking 195. It's high. It's not high. It's not super low because I was expecting this thing to probably have 50 races, sub 50, but it actually has almost 200, which is a bit surprising. But when you compare it to cars like the Aerovet, which I actually use a lot, yeah, 1,153 races. A lot of races to me is 1,000 over. So that's that. Some other cars with the Nitro, as you can see here, 101 races, 89% win ratio. Because the only time I used this was for off-road Dodge events and clubs, and this was the best car that you could use, and nobody had it. Everybody only had the Durango, so my Nitro had a field day. It was beating everything. It was amazing. Yeah, some of the cars that not a lot of people max out would be the DB7 Vantage. Once again, this is 323 because 323 was the way to go for for Aston Martins and PL11, but when PL12 came around, Hutch was like, oh, take this Uno reverse card, and then 223 is better now, so now this is useless, and it makes me sad. Which only means one thing. I now need to collect a duplicate of every single Aston Martin in the game, and make it 233 to cure myself of my 323 sins. Because here's another one, DB7 Zagato, this is 323. Yeah, you see what I mean? There's a lot of work that I need to do. Another one that not a lot of people use is the Alfa Romeo Alfetta GT. Now, this one is a pretty trash car. It loses to the Lancia 037 everywhere. The only reason why it's good is because it works as a good middle ground between the 037 and the Fiat Rally that is a Super Air, which is RQ49. This car's in between, and the RQ says the same thing. It's better than the Super Air and worse than the 037. So the car kind of just hits where it's supposed to hit. Another one, these two are really quirky. Oop, I had a bit of a hiccup there. Porsche 911 Turbo, this has good MRA. That's the only reason why. And I'm a huge fan of this style of 911, so that's why I have it around. And of course, the Mercedes-Benz C250D. This one's interesting. When I look at my fuse pile, and my fuse pile are basically Ultras that are unlocked. All of my Ultras that are locked are maxed. 100%. All of my Ultras that are locked are maxed, and all of my Ultras that are unlocked are stock. 0 stars. That doesn't necessarily mean that they're fused, but it just means that they can be fused. If they're not fused, I might just pick one from the pile and be like, I'm gonna max you. And this is exactly what the C250 is. Sometimes when I'm bored, I have nothing to max, I'll go into my so-called fused pile or my unlocked Ultra Rare collection. I'll just be like, I think I'll just max out an Ultra Rare today. And then one time I was just like, yeah, C250D, why not? I'm gonna max you. So I maxed it, 5283. I think I maxed it 2 weeks ago. 5 races, 100% win ratio. What do you know? But yeah, that's one of those cars. And obviously, like I said, Ultra Rares embodies the characteristic of my garage, my personality, my taste. So you will see a lot of duplicate max Dodge, Aston Martin, Porsche, those. So I got an Aston Martin right here. We got 3 Chargers over here. Gotta love it, man. Gotta love it. And once again, here's a drag spec, the SRT8. Now I had this drag spec when this thing had 40 MRA. It was 3.8. 4086, something like that. But now it's 4084. They obviously brought up the 0 to 60, but then they also increased the MRA. So the car is actually, I think, better than it used to be, although it has a higher 0 to 60. But yeah, it's just nice to see. This is drag spec. This is the normal 4286. We got this one, the 969 Charger Daytona 4289. Honestly, I need to get 699 versions of these as well. I maxed these cars out a long time ago at the start of American Dream. That was before I found out that 699 was the way. This one's interesting actually. This one's 699. This was one of the first ever Ultra Aston Martins I got. If you remember, I remember what pack I got this from. I didn't even get it from an Aston Martin pack. I got it from the Great Exhibition Elite carbon fiber, and this was the Aston Martin that was guaranteed that each player would get. Then I was on the mindset that all these Astons would be better at 233, and that's why I 233 this. And then I found out, oh, for Astons 233 is better, so then I 233 the other ones, and then PL12 came, and then 233 was the way again. So yeah, at least that one I don't need to get a duplicate off and get a 233 version. Here I 2 Volvo V90 T8s. I use this for tri-series purposes, 2 Sport Megans, which I use for club purposes, 2 GTOs, club purposes, 3 G63s all max, all for clubs as well. Once again, guys, squad depth, okay? This is why I max duplicate versions, is A, squad depth. From a strategic standpoint, like I said, instead of spending gold to refresh your, the service in your car, why instead of spending gold, you can just get a second one, max it out, and then, when the first G63 is tired, you put in the second G63. Or you could run all the 3 G63s at the same time, but if that's the case, then you'll need 6 G63s, so then you can have a squad depth for your first squad, which consisted of 3 G63s. This is something that I will have to get used to, because I'm currently in the works of maxing out like 6 924 rally cars, because I use like 3 924s in one hand now. The thing is, right, at the start of top drives, actually I'm going to talk about this when we get to 924 rallies, but as you can see here, I mentioned earlier about the 2 Pontiac GTOs. These are the ones that I use for Dragon City and Pontiacs now, so having these two kind of makes the 30th anniversary Trans Am kind of irrelevant. Moving on, Quattroporte, maxed it out because I was like, oh, it's a really niche car. It's the only standard tire, ultra rare Italian Renaissance, and guess what, it won me a prize car in the end. It won me the Bugatti Veyron. But yeah, we got an XKR, Delta Integrale, 2 maxed out DB3Ss, which most players will say that it's a car that they can never use. It is true. But recently, there was a pre-1970 event in clubs, and this was one of the best cars you could use. And God, I got a lot of cash just based off this car, because not a lot of people had it. Let alone 2. Let alone 1 being drag spec, and this one is 699. Moving on to my collection, I have 6 Martinis. Now, the Martinis is not a strategic reason for why I have 6 maxed out. The only reason why I have 6 of them maxed is because I love the car. I love the 911 Turbo Martini. That's literally it. I never use it in clubs. I never use it in any event, actually. It's kind of sad. They kind of just sit there. But I love the car. And that's another reason why I love Ultras, because it's a way for me to practice just my passion for collecting, and also cars that I like, and I don't know. There's no other garage in top drives that I know of that has 6 max out Martinis, and I find comfort in that, knowing that I'm probably the only garage, and I'm probably the only person crazy enough to max out 6 of them. Oh, one of them's 888, by the way, I think. Which one is it? I think it's this one. Is it 888? Yeah, no, it's 789, so there you go. Yeah, I'm never gonna use that. Once again, 2 Skyline GTR R32s. One is, of course, drag spec. This was basically my drag Japanese car for the longest time. Anytime there was a fast circuit, half mile, quarter mile, 1 mile, and a test bowl in any Japanese event, I would use this. Until yesterday when I got the R390. But before that, this was the best thing I had. So I think it has a lot of races, right? Yeah, 550 races, 85% win ratio, which is pretty impressive because I only put on the drags. It's a great car. It really is. So yeah, we got the RT10. We got 3 max. 2 is 699. 1 is 969. We got 2 stealth twin turbos. I'm thinking about maxing out a second Guara. I do have a second Guara stock. It's just that I haven't really gotten around to maxing it yet. BMW M5, as you guys know, it's my favorite E39 M5, be a favorite BMW of all time. So I got 3 of them maxed for that reason. 3 of a kind, 969, 699, and 996. I got 2 maxed out Aston Martin V8 Vantage N400s, Opel GTC Concept, which is a pretty interesting one. Not a lot of people have this maxed. And here's another club car, the 996 Drag Spec Honda Pilot 4-wheel drive. Basically, any car you see that is like drag spec that you think shouldn't be drag spec is because I'm using it for clubs, and this is the reason why. This is my hill climb car. 4.80 to 60 for a 4-wheel drive, all-surface tire, high ground clearance SUV. Is very impressive. It has like no MRA and no top speed. I mean, when you compare it to the X6, 159 to 123, but you can't deny that 4.80 to 60 on a Honda Pilot 4-wheel drive, a car that weighs 1,723 kilos, is very impressive. Also, drag spec 037, because the main reason why I have this 996 is because the main competition for the 037 Rally is the RQ62 Ford Escort Rally spec. And when you put these two cars together in anything twisty, even if you had the 037 Rally 969, it's going to lose everywhere. So what's the point of making it lose everywhere to the rally spec when I can actually really capitalize on its strength, on its one and only strength, which is its 0 to 60, because this thing will beat all the other off-road rear-wheel drive ultra rares in any drag, because 3.80 to 60 is the lowest. It'll beat the 924, it'll beat the Silvia, it'll beat the Rally spec, it'll beat the Alfetta, it'll beat the Assetto Corsas. So yeah, that's why I have a drag spec. If I do get a second one, I will 969 just so it can tie with other 969 037 rallies, because that's the most popular upgrade pattern for the 037 Rally 969. But then again, 996, use it for the drags, it's a king. And then as you can see, you got the Rapide Bertone Jet 2+2 STS Rapide, basically any Aston Martin Ultra I have maxed. Besides one, the DB7, and that's because I've never unpacked the DB7. Got R33, 2718s, 1969, 1996. Sorry, no, 1699. This one is the 969. This is the 699. Oh god, I'm gonna get confused by saying all that. Got 2 maxed out Ford Escort Rally specs. I should be working on a third. I have a third one stock. I have 2 maxed out Camaro SS Coupes, 2 TCRs, 4 maxed out Carrera GTS Rallies, and I think we're gonna see 4 BTRs really soon. 2 Pontiac Torrents, 3 Lancer Evo 4s, 2 XJ 5.0 V8s. Now the main reason why I have duplicate max outs are all of these is because they're really niche and they're the best in what they do. So that's why I need them in bulk. CTS Coupe, honestly, I wish I maxed out my second one. I had 2 CTS Coupes, but I fused the second one because I thought, you know what, I had 3 of a kind. I had CTS Coupe, the Honda Legend, and the Citroen Metropolis. That's all I needed. But really, no, I'm better off with like 3 Cadillac CTS Coupes, to be honest. I got my 996 Aston Martin V12 Vanquish. This one's a car that you probably haven't seen me unpack because I got this from a ceramic pack, which I wasn't recording. And then I maxed out on the day because, you know, it's an Aston Martin. It makes me happy. And then I got 4 maxed out BTRs. It's like my favorite ultra rare in the entire game. Also, it's my favorite picture. I mean, it has a freaking fighter jet in it, dude. That's sick. We got 2 AMG S63s, cannot speak, S63s. One is 996, one is, I think this is 699, yep, for the city streets. So this one's drag spec, this one is city street spec, basically. And then, do I have any more duplicates? Yeah, 2 Colorado ZR2s and 2 Aston Martin Repeat S's. Those are that's 213 max ultras, which is insane. But let me tell you about the strategic part that I want to harp up against. I cannot speak English today. It's strange. But yeah, I want to talk about the Porsche 924 Carrera GTS Rally. Why do I have 4, and why I think this is the way to go strategically? Now, when you come into the game, when I first started playing the game, everyone kind of has the same mindset. They're like, oh, I need to get, you know, a variety in my collection. And to be fair, that's kind of how Hutch wants you to play the game. They want you to get the biggest collection that you can get to collect every car in the game, and, you know, maybe have it all maxed out so you can have a nice and broad collection. But what I've learned is the way to actually win events is to have max out versions of the same car that is the best in what it does. Alright, now imagine this scene. It's times 5 off-road, all twisty. and the restrictions is rear-wheel drive. Basically clubs, right? And then you're like, oh, okay, since I have a variety, I'm gonna do well because I have one 924, right? Actually, let me just make you visualize this better. We're going to go into tires, and we're gonna go into off-road and rear-wheel drive. So let's just say, yeah, I have one of a kind, right? I have one Alfetta, one 037 Rally, one Sylvia, one Escort, and one 924. That's great. 5 off-road maxed out ultra rares. Nobody can beat me, right? And then you go into the event and you see your opponent has 5 maxed out 924 Carrera GTS rallies. At the end of the day, the best car is going to beat the variety, right? You might come in with a variety, you might have all of the off-road ultras that you can get. There are only 5 rear-wheel drive off-road ultras in the game. You might have all 5 of them and you'll be like, oh, I'm set, I have it all. It's like kind of like when you're Thanos and you have like all the gems, right? Then you're the most powerful. Yeah, that's not the case in top drives. You don't want all the different gems to become powerful in this universe. In this universe, you want 5 of the strongest gem. That's literally it. So honestly, at this point, right, these are all irrelevant when it comes to off-road events and clubs. These are all the Ford Escort still has some use to it because it beats the 924 on slalom and beat. But everything else, the 924 is supreme, and of course the 037 beats everything on the drag. That's it, right? But everything else, the 924 Carrera is supreme. So honestly, if you had 5 of them maxed out, you are going to beat someone that has a variety that has all this 5. Like instead of having 5 different maxed out ultra rares, just have 5 924 Carrera as rallies, and you're gonna win. So that's the first part, the strategical part. That's how you win. You have 5 of those. Now this is what makes it even more tedious for me because like I said, I have duplicate maxed out of all these cars because I want to emphasize on squad depth. I want to go for 20 races so I can get gold participation. But you see, if I was going to do a squad depth of the best hand, theoretically I would need 10 maxed out Porsche 924 Carrera GTS rallies. Now this is just for 1. This would also mean that I would need to have maxed out like 10 of each key ultra rare. I would need 10 max ZR2 Colorados, 10 maxed out Tamoras, 10 maxed out BTRs. You see what I mean? So this is why I have so many maxed out ultra rares, because what is the end goal for me? The end goal for me is to really have 10 maxed versions of each key ultra rare. Now that is a goal that I feel like I will never achieve, but it's also a goal that I will continue to try and achieve for as long as I play the game. And that's why you see what I have in my collection. 213 max ultra rares, and a lot of them are just duplicates. At the end of the day, guys, it's just all down to earning money in clubs. I think that's really what it all boils down to. The only really special ones that you see would be my 6 Martinis and my 3 E39 BMW M5s. I have those because I genuinely just love them. The BTR, I love it too, but it's also really useful in clubs. So there are 2 reasons to that. But really, specifically for cars I genuinely max in bulk just because I love them, it's probably just the Martini and any of the Astons, I guess, but the Astons are actually pretty useful in clubs, and the E39 M5. But with that said, I don't know how long this video is. I hope it helped you. The main thing that I want to show you is just, you know, for someone that plays clubs as much as I do, you know, I've talked about specialization so many times, but this is a good way for you to see what specialization actually is, you know, and what grinding clubs actually is, what it takes, you know, to really earn all this cash as quickly as I do. But yeah, with that said, I hope this video helped. I hope it's not too long, and I hope you guys have a great day. Remember to stay safe, wash your hands, and I'll see you all next time. Remember to like, subscribe, and we're really close to 5K subscribers, so I'm really excited for that too. But I hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you all next time. Blossom out.